tell everyone, Sideline Sports, I'll come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune. From the booth to the field, every Saturday.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. It is a great day. I love this song.
Let me tell you,
I was with somebody yesterday, and they said that's better than that song on that show on TV. And
it's
I said,
better
well,
than Are You Ready for Some Football on Monday night?
Yes, it is. And we have a
That was
great
tough.
singer-songwriter right there in the green shirt, almost a week out from his birthday, Brendan Martin. I'm Rob Brown in Memphis. What a lineup today, man. Jordan Davis Hill, 247 Sports, covers Georgia. And check out, got a great podcast, Junkyard Dog Podcast. And he didn't come up with the name, but I like the Dunkyard Dogs, basketball for the dogs. And we've got Wes Neighbors from Huntsville checking in about 15 after. And then halfway through, Franz Beard, GatorBaitMedia.com, all things SEC basketball and nationally, as well as Yancy Porter from the Rebel Yell Hotline. Do us a favor. Take a picture with your cell phone. We're live streaming Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And do us a big favor, too. Smash that button, share now on Facebook and everywhere else you can do it. That's how this show grows, and we get the best guests. And Jordan, first off, good morning. Thanks for sharing your time with us more than you know. I really mean that when I say it, because it takes a team to make this thing happen. And you got to be having fun, because you mainly cover football, but the basketball team, you knew it would start getting better. But you're at 20 wins, I believe, now, and you hadn't even got the season over. Plus, you got the SEC tournament, and you're going to the March Madness. That's got to be a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Super excited to see it happen. For the folks who are listening who haven't been up to speed or don't follow Georgia basketball all the time, if they do go to the tournament, which I think based on everything they've done, they will be in the NCAA tournament again. This will be the first time they have gone to the NCAA tournament in back-to-back years since 2001, 2002. So just for context, I would have been 7 years old the last time that happened. So it's been a minute. And yeah, you mentioned, I'm glad Rob pointed out Georgia getting to 20 wins. They did that on Saturday by beating South Carolina. Pretty feisty South Carolina team, but Georgia closed strong. But in doing that, Georgia has won at least 20 games in 3 straight seasons. That's only the third time in program history that Georgia has done that. Won 20 games in 3 straight years. It was with Tubby Smith and Ron Jersa. I think that was 96 to 98. And then Mark Fox did it in the 2010s. So very successful time. There was a stretch there where it kind of looked like things were trending in the wrong direction. I think Georgia lost 5 of 6, I think, at one point there in February. But they righted the ship. I mean, they won at Kentucky, and then they won against Texas the following Saturday. And they've been playing pretty well right now.
They have, and you go back to that 2008 March tournament in Atlanta when the tornado hit. I still remember up at St. Louis Catholic Church at the fish fry that we were all like, what just happened? You couldn't believe it. But no, Georgia basketball is an enigma, because everyone says, look at Metro Atlanta alone, and then the state of over 11 million people. But what about the fans? The student section at Georgia is awesome, and we all know that. But are the folks with the shoulder pads and the spikes coming to the basketball games?
Oh, yeah, you'll see them. What's been nice to see this year, so one of the point guards, his name's Marcus Millender. He goes by Smurf, and you kind of had to make sure you're not tripping when you're at a basketball game. You just see little people walking around. There's been some Smurfs at these basketball games. But one thing that Mike White has pointed out a few different times, really when he first got to Georgia, they made a push to bring the student section closer to the court, which is pretty on par with what a lot of SEC teams do. And I know at the time there were older season ticket holders who weren't exactly thrilled, about having to give up their seats and kind of move around. But it's made a huge difference. It's given Georgia a home court advantage. And credit to Mike White and credit to the team, these last couple teams. They've done a very good job for the most part of winning at home and defending that home floor. And you got to have that if you're going to keep up in the SEC.
Seed-wise, you win these next two, what happens, do you think?
It's hard to say. What I've seen right now, most people are projecting Georgia to be a 9 seed. I think, one, Georgia should be thrilled to be in it no matter where they're seated. But that's a very dangerous position where, okay, let's say they are a 9 seed. Hey, congratulations, you won. You beat the 8 seed. Now you're playing the 1 seed in the second round.
Yeah.
That's probably not going to
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Exactly. Enjoy the trip, but it's probably not going to last very long. So it's hard to say for sure. I will say this. They would help their cause, I think, significantly if they could beat Alabama. That game is tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Central in Stegman Coliseum. But, yeah, I don't have a great feel for what they need as far as to move up in that seeding. But I think that would go a long way. And if they weren't able to beat Alabama, I don't know that whether it was, winning at Starkville on Saturday, if that would really move the needle. And you'd probably have to win at least a couple games in the SEC tournament for that to really matter as far as your seeding.
Well, you've got Alabama tonight. You win that game, that's a seed game. But right now, you just keep doing what you've been doing. I mean, that's Alabama's good. They've held that ship together with all the distractions. Of course, they did it 3 years ago with all the distractions in January. But all right, switching over football right now. Kirby Smart, I think he's the best coach in college football. He'll adapt, he'll improvise, he'll overcome. If I was a coach, that's what I'd be like. I always say that. And that's because he's so fired up and energetic. What's he doing different? He doesn't have Will Muschamp around if he needs him because he's now at Texas. And now Mark Stoops is at Texas as an assistant to him. But any staff changes that have happened or you're hearing might happen on the Georgia football team?
Yeah, they're really taking care of most of the staff getting ready. I guess now we're about 2 weeks away from the start of spring practice. But, a couple of changes, notable changes. They promoted Phil Rauscher, who had been an analyst. He's a new offensive line coach. He takes over for Stacy Searles, an Auburn guy, a guy that coached in the SEC for a long, long time, had 2 different tenures at Georgia. He decided he was going to kind of take a step back. He's kind of doing what Will Muschamp did a couple years ago, where he stepped back from being on the field and just staying on as an analyst. So I think we'll still see him around the program. And then one that I'm really excited about, I'm hoping to have a story on Wednesday about another staff hire, Larry Knight, the new outside linebackers coach. He's coming over from West Virginia. He'd only been there a couple of months, was previously at Arkansas State. He's a guy that played for Butch Jones at Central Michigan, coached with Butch at Cincinnati and Tennessee. He's coached at Georgia Tech. He's coached at Temple. A very young, energetic guy from Augusta. Had a chance to talk to Butch Jones, to Jeff Collins for a story, kind of get a sense of what Georgia's bringing in, and they couldn't say enough good things about them. So those are the only on-field staff changes. I'll shout this out, too. With an analyst that Georgia brought on, a guy some of y'all may remember, Robert Edwards, is now an analyst.
Sandersville, Georgia.
Assistant running back coach. I think they were very excited. He's a guy that has coached high school football in the state of Georgia for about the last 15 years. So adding him on, I think Georgia's excited about that. And one thing Kirby loves to do, man, if he can find a UGA alum who's in the business, who's coaching, if it makes sense, he's going to bring them on and have them be a part of his staff.
Well, I think it's very smart. I mean, you get all those guys, Takeo Spikes, Robert Edwards, Terrence Edwards, wasn't Terrence the last 1,000-yard receiver Georgia's had?
He's the only one.
Not
only the last one, he is the one.
He is it. He's the man. Well, I think you're smart. You got the 4th most talent-rich state in America. Texas 1, California 2, Florida 3, Georgia 4, Ohio 5. So very smart. All right, so offensively, nobody gets criticized more than Mike Bobo. It's crazy. And just look at the hardware where he goes. The 1 year he wasn't there, Mark Richt was gone after that one season. He goes to Colorado State. He comes back. He goes to Auburn for a year, escapes to Athens, and just keeps stacking up titles. Let it not be lost. Georgia's won 2 SEC titles in a row. You got to be feeling like, okay, we're going to keep winning them until we don't.
Yeah, I'll be interested by the time we get to media days in July, just to figure out, is Georgia going to be picked to win the SEC? I think it's either Georgia or Texas, and that'll probably be what the game is, what the voters say, who we'll see in the SEC title game. And this is a really interesting year as far as I'm concerned with Mike Bobo. He's got Gunnar Stockton back for his second full year as a starter. He's got a new offensive line coach, as we just talked about. He's got a receiver room that, if y'all watched the combine at all, they lost some talent. And Zachariah Branch, Dylan Bell, Colby Young, those guys are all moving on. So those receivers have to step up. But I really like what they got in the running back room. You get Nate Frazier back, Chauncey Bowen's back, added. I think maybe Georgia's most underrated portal addition in Dante Dowdell, a guy they got from Kentucky who had been at Nebraska, been at Oregon. I think you're going to see a good bit of him. But big opportunity for Mike. I'm with you, Rob. I think that a lot of the criticism that Mike gets is unfair. They've done a pretty good job. I think with any coordinator, you can point to certain situations where maybe they didn't make the right decision. But I think for the most part, he does a good job throwing out a lot of eye candy, making defenses think one thing's coming and something else is coming right behind it. But this is a big year for that offense. And to me, the offense is going to determine if this team is a championship caliber team. I really like what they got coming back on defense. It was very young last year. Still played pretty well on the whole. You got a lot of those guys coming back. I think you can bank on that defense. That offense, again, I think it's going to determine if they're going to contend for a title and maybe make it 3 in a row in the SEC.
Yeah. All right. Question from the ghost of Bob Weir. It was interesting. What's the status on Drew Bobo?
Not expecting him to be available in the spring. We haven't heard for sure, but that foot injury sounds like was pretty serious. So yeah. I would be surprised if we see him in spring ball. I think it's going to be really more so once we get to fall camp, if we're able to get him back. So that's going to be a real question, something to watch in the spring. Malachi Tollivers, who played in his place without him, and but a guy right there, Cortez Smith. He was a true freshman last year. I think he is. When you look past Drew Bobo, whenever Drew's done playing in Georgia, I think the next guy is Malachi Smith. Is Cortez Smith, a guy who's he's a second-year center at this point. I really like him and think we might have a pretty interesting battle for the backup spot and who's going to be playing until Drew's able to come back.
Yeah, I mean, center's your quarterback of your offensive line. And he's never going to be your best athlete or the biggest guy. Typically, he's not. He might start out his career at 6'3". By the time he's done after 4 or 5 years, he's 6 feet. Because I think your headbutt. All right, so before you go, how can people follow you? You put out tons of stuff on Twitter and social media, but what's going on the podcast, Junkyard Dog?
Yeah, we'll be going live 12 p.m. Eastern time today. We're going to talk about the NFL Combine. Some Georgia players, I think, made themselves some money over the weekend in Indianapolis. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Georgia basketball and get ready as the end of the regular season's in sight. Folks can follow me. Go over to dogs247.com. Still got a 50% off sale. Hope folks will join us there. On Twitter, at Jordan Davis Hill, on Twitter at Dogs247. So we're kind of in that in-between. We're getting ready for March Madness. Like I said a few minutes ago, spring practice is about 2 weeks away, but great time of year. And the best thing is we have no shortage of stuff to talk about when I come on with you guys.
No, and your baseball coverage is awesome as well. Everything Georgia with Jordan Davis Hill. And, Stacy from Tryon, Georgia, right near where you grew up, I think.
Oh, yeah. Stacy's – I think that he probably made the right decision. He's been on the road for quite a while.
Yeah. You're seeing everybody else's kids. Now you want to see yours. Now you've got grandchildren. All right. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Wes Neighbors checks in here in a minute from over in ESPN. And all things Alabama, all things SEC, college, lot to talk about. I agree with what one of your, the guys on here, we got some smart viewers. Todd Golden right now, I got a stat the other night. I'm sure you saw it. He's like 25-15 against ranked opponents. He's at the third best winning percentage.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and look at all the rank matchups that he's had.
Yeah.
since he's okay. All
Well,
right.
and his age too. So that's to me is when you meet the guy, I don't know. I mean, we talk about this. We go to games. We see all this stuff, but it's still something different when you see somebody outside of work, and you see them just in their street clothes and whatever. And and I look at the guy. I'm like, God, how old are you? Like
He looks like he's in college.
You look like you're in college. You're a super young looking guy, and he's not super intimidating size wise, right? But my God, he runs that team like, I mean, he's the ball. I mean, and I say that like obvious. I'm Captain Obvious here, but he is just, some teams some coaches are players coaches. He's the boss.
Yeah,
that's the deal, and he runs those guys like. I mean, it's pretty awesome to watch when you go to.
Yeah. The bottom line is, and I'm waiting for Wes to come in. I sent him another link, but SEC basketball early on this season, it really wasn't impressive. It wasn't exciting. And as the season has gone on, Florida's pulled away. They've won 11 or 12 in a row, I think. But the rest of the conference is starting to pull up a little bit. But then you've got some really bad teams at the bottom. But I mean, Auburn's playing itself out of the tournament. I don't see how they get a bid with losing. That was the worst quad 3 loss in 37 months, losing to an Ole Miss team that was on a 10-game losing streak. So, Florida got beat by Auburn. Auburn beat Arkansas earlier, and then Florida beat Arkansas 111-77 last Saturday down in the O-Dome. So it's crazy. Wes Neighbors, watched your show, your afternoon show. I like that. I like that format on ESPN. You got it was on YouTube. I got a link when I was out. I was about to go run and take the dogs to the park, and I watched it. I like it 5 to 7 in the afternoons after you get all the options trading and collecting all the bones and the remains from the day. First off, how was Yellowstone? Can you get your?
It's unbelievable.
Okay, tell me about it. Snowmobiling? Did you do that?
Oh no, I didn't do. I've done that before. This was more of a snow coach at this age, more than snowmobiling. But it was a wonderful time. It's absolutely beautiful. It snowed 4 feet while we were there.
Wow,
the pictures are amazing.
4 feet's a lot, Wes. That's a lot of snow. I mean, I'm from Colorado. That's a lot of snow.
They had not had a lot of snow, and when we got there, they started snowing, and it was just. Even the guide said it was amazing. But, you're sitting on a volcano, right? An active volcano. And that, I don't know how that eluded me, that it was that active, but it's active.
Yeah.
So it's I would suggest before you go overseas or do anything overseas, go to Yellowstone. I wouldn't go in the summer because they said last year, before COVID, they're doing about $1.5 million. Last year they did $5 million in the summer. I'd go in the winter is it's a lot prettier. It's it's a beautiful place, and you still see all the animals, everything but the bears. I really don't want to see a bear. No. I'm not into hanging out with something that can eat you. Yeah. Although the buffalo kill more people than every other animal combined.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was
moose,
a lot of fun.
And moose are dangerous when people don't understand.
They are. Yeah.
So dangerous.
They call what do they call a swamp something or another. Because moose hang out in the swamps. So I don't know.
Yeah, they do. And I've got my boys that spend a lot of time. They go out to Jackson Hole a lot. My middle one does. And he's been out there 5 times this year. And
wow, it's beautiful. Yeah, we stayed there a couple nights as well.
Yeah,
I've been there before. We've been there before. Actually, it's just called the city of Jackson.
Yeah,
the area is called Jackson Hole, which I didn't know. I learned that on this trip.
Oh, they've corrected me. They said, "Dad, you're such a tourist." I'm like,
They're adamant about that.
Yes, they are. Wes, did you get a roll tide out there anywhere? Were you wearing anything that said Alabama on it?
Yeah, I mean, so you're with the same people every day.
Yeah,
and a couple of people Googled me after this the 2 days, and that became the rest of the conversation the rest of the time we were there. So
that's right. Well, let me ask you something. Alabama, you can't go a day without hearing people talking about Kalen DeBoer. You know, you've played there. Your dad played at Alabama. You got a son on the staff at Ole Miss. You got one that played at LSU, played at Alabama. You got a lot of street credibility. Let's talk about spring practice is about to start. What are you looking for to change back-to-back 4-loss seasons at Alabama? Because the standard, we know what the standard was and still is.
Oh yeah, well, there's nobody that's Coach Saban.
Yeah.
And the times have changed. We're not kidding ourselves. Alabama doesn't have $40 million to be paying players. They have good money, but not that kind of money. And that's kind of what you're seeing, I think, happening. And the SEC has a huge issue because of the depth of the conference.
Yeah.
And playing week to week, and nobody has the depth that you had. Nobody does.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the better teams were, Ohio State had pretty good depth 2 years ago. They ended up winning, although they struggled at times during that year. It's not like they just blew through the year, kind of like Indiana did. They were lucky to get where they were. I mean, remember, they lost to Michigan at home. And they were wanting to fire their coach. Yeah. And I think if he hadn't done so well in the playoffs, they would have. I'm just using them as an example that this isn't the same. The times have changed. Yeah. It's not going to be the same as it was. You're going to see different teams every year. And it's going to have to do a lot with injuries. I thought Georgia had one of the better teams at the end of last year. And they ran into a hot Ole Miss team. So then it becomes kind of luck too. I mean, you look at one of the fastest guy in the draft was the guy that was chasing the quarterback for Ole Miss around in the backfield.
Yeah,
he ended up running a 4.3 at the draft,
wow.
And then he doesn't catch him, and the guy makes the play of the year. So there's a lot of things that are going to go into this. I think you have to look on returning quarterbacks too. You're just not going to have a 1-year quarterback win the national championship. That might happen occasionally, but to me, you got to go and look and see, okay, who has the best returning guy, and then who can stay healthy. I thought Georgia the last 2 years at times had the best team, but they couldn't stay healthy 2 years ago, and the quarterback got hurt, and then it's going to be that. But the SEC's at a huge disadvantage because it's so deep, where you only have 5 or 6 teams in the Big Ten, and I think that gives them that gives them an advantage, and then the money advantage. Ohio State spent 30-something million when everybody else was spending 20. You go, I thought Indiana did it. Also, what's changing is you can't win it with young guys. You got to have older guys, and you can able to. We saw Vanderbilt be better than ever. They had 30 guys that are 5th and 6th year guys. Look at Indiana did it with 5th and 6th year guys. And it's a big difference trying to pay an 18-year-old against a bunch of 5th and 6th year guys. Those guys are going to win every time.
Yeah, Wes, you're right. And you think about you and me in the financial services. I've been doing it 35 years. Managing a roster is no different than managing a portfolio. If you're a money manager, hedge fund manager, whatever, it just means you've got to buy and sell. You don't want to sell stuff unless you got a better stock to buy. You can sit in cash, but you'll go broke safely with inflation, taxes, the cost of living. So you got to go find better players. All right, I want to ask you about basketball. You have Richard Hendricks on Alabama basketball player. Great segment the other day. You and your co-host, y'all, folks, put this app on your phone. Add it to your list. ESPN, it's 97.7 The Zone in Huntsville. Yeah, right. But let's talk some Alabama basketball. Look, somebody put a smart-ass comment the other day. But I talk about Nate Oates kept the team together 3 years ago in January. We all know the tragedy that happened there. But this year, again, major distraction. And I don't know who wouldn't have tried to bring back a guy if you could get away with it that could help you. And they did it, but he's kept this team together. They go on the road, get a significant win up in Knoxville over the weekend. Alabama, Nate Oates is a hell of a coach.
Oh, there's no question. And, the job he's done this year, because they're scheduled, toughest schedule in the country. kind of in the middle of the season before they got Bediako. And I was against when they got Bediako until I realized that there's 125 players from overseas that were paid, that were playing professional basketball overseas, and they were allowed to come back.
Yep.
I mean, they're on every team. Yep. And there's some even G Leaguers that are playing across on other teams.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, but I think that helped them because the most improved player on this team, and Bediako's still practicing with them, is the kid that got the hard hat, the big kid, the only big kid really they have that's any good. He's gotten tremendously better since Bediako came, and I would attribute that to the practicing.
Yeah.
And seeing how, they lost 2 of the 3 games Bediako played in.
Yeah. That's right.
So, I mean, and played awful in the first one against Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, they got just mud stomped by Florida. But, they've won a lot of close games. And I think the guard play is the reason why. They have the best guards in the conference overall. And, they've won those games at the very end on all of them. Arkansas last seconds, Texas A&M last seconds. The Tennessee, they stole one up in Tennessee. The only time they led was the last 2 points of the game in the whole game. So I think they're getting better. They're getting a lot more confidence going to Tennessee and winning. It's not easy to do. And Tennessee has a very good basketball team. And, Nate Oates has done an incredible job every year. And you think about he tries to play the hardest schedule in the country every year, and it's paying dividends.
Yeah. And there's always been the talk about Coleman Coliseum. Got to get a new arena. You just retrofit it and go get better players. I don't see anybody building a new arena.
No, I was against that anyway because, NIL is where it is, where he'd rather have the NIL money. Coleman Coliseum is a nice place to go watch a basketball game. It isn't, when it's full, it's really, really good place. The problem is it holds 20-something thousand people. And if there's anything else to do in Alabama during hunting season, during everything else, they're not going to fill it up every time. It's gotten better. I know people that go to every game from Huntsville, drive 3 hours there and back, go to the game. So, we used to go on Wednesdays when Wimp was coach because my dad liked to watch Wimp throw a fit on the sideline. When he watched the game, he just watched Wimp.
That's right.
So, but my dad had the best saying, and he used to. We go to the games during the week, Tuesday or Wednesday. We would drive down to Tuscaloosa, drive back, go to the game. We usually sat with Malmore or whoever, and we enjoyed it. We did it every Wednesday. But on Saturday, he would cook a breakfast for the family. We'd go up there with the kids. And I remember he would go to sleep and say, wake me up with 5 minutes left. In basketball, it doesn't matter at the game, though, there's 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
And he'd take a nap, and we'd wake him up with 5 minutes. So we call it Big Billy time. I'll switch it back and forth to the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because that's all that matters.
Yeah. Well, it's like going to a Grizzlies game at the FedEx Forum, the fourth quarter in the NBA. You can be down by 25 and win by 10.
No. It's just the and it's all the fouling and everything. It could take 45 minutes to play the last 5. So
I mean, and now you can just gamble on the last 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds. There's so much more. So I mean, a lot of times it's advantageous on you just to wait till the fourth quarter in the last 5 minutes, especially if you're using Kalshi or whatever.
Yeah. You can bet on every bit of the game. Wes, are y'all heading up to?
By the way, my girlfriend kills it on Kalshi, and she knows nothing about sports. She's just like, oh yeah, I just put this. I'm like, how much money did you win? She's like, I don't know, I like their uniforms. I was like,
that's what my wife does.
Here's your bracket, honey. Fill it out.
Yeah, my wife will do that. She goes by body language. She's a psych major and deals with kids 5 and under, elementary ed masters and all that. And she's like, watch their body language. And I'm like,
that has to be hard on you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I took a chill gummy this morning, though, from Dave Part 2. So are y'all going to be heading up to Nashville for the SEC tournament? A big presence for the station?
Yeah, we'll have a bunch of guys. We have 3 local shows right now. So I'm sure that we'll have 2 or 3 go up there, and I might go up for the last 2 games. But it's our guys do an incredible job. They just bringing me along. They're amazing. They work so hard, and they make the radio station, no doubt.
Well, you just bottom line is you got a lot of local stuff to talk about, but the SEC.
Where are all your
nationally.
stations? I'm sorry. Can you give us what is it, blanket?
Oh, no. It's just we're on pretty much all of North Alabama. With our signal, and then a couple other people pick up some of our shows. But it's that we go to everything though, and we all go. Like if we media days, I'll have every show. Every show will be set up there. I take them everywhere. We have a good time. They love it, and it's what makes the station, I think, is the fact that we're not trying to chance and just send one guy to media days. We all go. We all go to the Super Bowl if it's close. We all, we'll go. Any reason to go to Miami, I'm in. So they always try to get me to go to Miami no matter what's there.
Yeah.
They wanted to cover the boat show last year. So, we didn't do that, by the way.
Media days used to be a little closer for you on the regular.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was easy when it was in Birmingham, obviously. Yeah. But we take them all. We all went to Dallas.
Yeah.
We've gone every year. And we carry 6 or 7 people. So,
next year, Rob, we're partying with these guys.
I know. No, let me tell you something. I've been doing this. Wes and I are the same age. When I was in college, I remember starting on radio and then all the times afterwards. I mean this. I don't know of another radio station that puts what you put into it. I mean, when it is a traveling, it's like the Deadheads and the Spreadheads, man. When y'all are on the road, and Drew DeArmond with his questions, he's the lead prosecutor. The guy's unreal, and I got to get him on here either with you or that another time, and just let him roll. But a lot of radio stations you always hear about, we're cutting back, we're not doing this. What are you doing? What are you there for? But at media days, you all have, you're right, every show, and you get great guests by doing that. People, I just want to tell you, people recognize and appreciate the Tennessee River Valley. Nobody covers them like y'all do.
Well, and Drew and Scott do an incredible job with the high schools. Yeah. We actually have a high school network where we have 7 or 8 games we play on the internet, and they're all professionally done.
Yeah.
We have we provide the color and the play-by-play. It's on the radio. It's on TV. It's we do a lot of different things, and it's those guys doing it. And the amount of work they have done is incredible.
Yeah,
and I just got lucky. I had a little vision of what I wanted it to be like, and then they took and ran with it. So,
David Housel, I'm going to use a Housel quote. Luck is just when preparation and opportunity come together. I know you work your ass off, but you got a great station. Tell people how they can follow you, and thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And let's do it again next week. Welcome back from Yellowstone.
Thank you. So it's 97.7, but you can go to any app. It includes, we have our own app on either your iPhone or on your Droid, and you just go there, go to the Play Store, put WZZ in, and there you go. And you can pull up the TV or any of we have like 7 different stations, I think.
Yeah.
Some of them are internet stations that we always have content on. So go there and choose to your heart desire. We have as my dad says, we have a paddle for every ass.
I love it. Drill down local, man. See you next week. Thanks. Love it, Franz. That is Wes Neighbors over in Huntsville. Franz, you got the hat on. I love the hat. The editors will show up. Yancy Porter is going to join us in a second from Rebel Yell Hotline. Damn, I was a lot of times you text me during the day and I'm driving all over, back and forth to Memphis, in Memphis, all over the East Arkansas, working, doing stuff. But I eventually read everything. Damn. First off, folks, you got to get this book, The Golden Season. It's less than $40, $39.99. Who cares? Cost is only an issue in the absence of any added value. You're smarter for reading it. It's last year's Gator National Championship run. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff you've never heard before about this team. Franz will sign it for you. Hey, send in a comment here. You know what? You can get your book signed. He goes all over and does book signings. These are great to buy for gifts for people as well. Franz, SEC race is heating up, man. I love this time of year. Wes, he covers basketball, football over there in Huntsville. I talk about Alabama. They're pushing. They look like they're the best team after Florida, but there's a wide chasm between the two.
Oh yeah, Florida beat the socks off of Alabama, and that's when they had Bediako, and they don't have that 7-footer now. They've got to beat people. Alabama's a very good team, and they can beat people shooting threes. They can beat people typically by turning a game into a track meet. They're terrible defensively, but they can outscore you. Their problem is when they meet up with a team that plays good defense, which Florida right now is considered the 4th best defensive team in the country. I would argue that they're better than that. They have real issues, and that's what Florida did. Florida's by far the best defensive team in the SEC. They're the best rebounding team in the entire nation. And I can tell you this, nobody goes from the defensive end of the court to the offensive end of the court and is ready to get a shot up quicker than Florida. People have tried to slow them down. Ole Miss tried with a zone defense that Florida shredded with 11 for 22. And when I say that, this is what has happened with Florida. Todd Golden said way back when that these guys, I'm talking about Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee, would start shooting well. And I had players tell me, you can't believe the shots these guys make in practice. Well, now they're making them. And then you throw in Urban Klavzar afterward, who I think is the best shooter in the SEC. And you got this guy named Isaiah Brown, who I don't know if you saw Saturday's game against Arkansas when he did a coast-to-coast with a jam at the end that just about blew the roof off of the O-Dome. This guy can also shoot. He went 2 for 2 from 3. So now all of a sudden Florida solved its shooting problems. They got the defense. They've got the rebounding. They're the class of the SEC. And right now they have a 35 NCAA net ranking. Teams that win usually get that. They usually make the Final Four, and most of them win it.
Go back, rewind. A 35 what again?
The 35 NCAA net ranking.
Okay, net ranking. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So
and Florida's there. Florida has a 35. So does Duke, and so does Arizona. I believe, having played both those teams, having been there in Las Vegas when the Gators played Arizona, having been in New York when they lost to UConn, having been at Cameron, a game they should have won. I think Florida, they lost those 3 games by 11 points combined. Yeah. I think Florida's a lot better than 11 points better than what they were when they played those teams.
I mean, ironically, their worst loss is probably the Auburn loss because, how do you lose to Auburn?
Well, every team, it seems, has a game once a year that, you want to throw it in the waste can. The year before, Florida lost to Georgia.
Yeah.
They had beaten Georgia. They'd beaten Georgia, I think, by 30 in Gainesville, and they went up there. And Georgia had them by 20-something points.
26.
26 points in the first half. And Florida came back and actually took the lead in the second half and then just ran out of gas, basically. But games like that are often a turning point, as you know, Rob.
Oh, yeah.
Games like that cause teams to refocus, say, okay, we got to, it's been fun in games so far, but now it's time to get serious.
Yeah, it is. And looking around the league, I mean, just take a look at the standings. All you got to do is say Florida and everybody else, but Alabama's there at 12-4. I mean, at the very worst, Florida could, tie. They're not going to lose these last two games. They're not going to lose. I mean, Mississippi State.
They'll win it outright tonight.
Yeah, it's over. I mean, exactly. So you got Arkansas at 11-5, Missouri at 10-6, Kentucky 10-6, Tennessee at 10-6, Texas 9-7, Vanderbilt 9-7, A&M at 9-7. Didn't take long to figure out Bucky Ball, but he doesn't have a lot of talent. I like him a lot. Georgia at 8-8, Auburn at 6-10. They're playing their way out of the tournament. They just, you can't lose to a quad 3 team that's on a 10-game losing streak. You can't do it. There's no accountability. Mississippi State at 5-11, Oklahoma 5-11, and they're both still being considered as tournament teams. Franz, how Oklahoma? They've played people close. They talk about their strength of schedule. I think that's a bunch of crap. I think strength of schedule is so overrated. Ole Miss at 4-12, and LSU and South Carolina at 3-13. And I wonder, and Yancy Porter is expected to join us if he can get out of a meeting, but I really wonder, does Chris Beard come back next year? I'm going to do some rapid fire questions with you, Franz, like 60-second or less answers. You think Chris Beard's back in Oxford next year as a basketball coach?
Yeah, because $6 million, he's not going to get a $6 million paycheck anyplace else coming off a losing season.
Yeah, great answer. Okay, Missouri, Dennis Gates. They got a couple of 7-footers, and I'm going to go back to you last year. Franz, you're one of those people, you're like these teachers I had. I still remember Brother Stephen Schonhoff in Word Wealth. If you got a word definition wrong, you were doing push-ups on your knuckles, 20 of them. You talked last year, you said, Rob, as you say it, Florida, the difference is Florida has 5 or 6 big guys that can run up and down the court, and they're coordinated. Like Yancy Porter at 6'11", 7'3" with the afro. Yancy Porter, Rebel Yell Hotline. Yancy, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, guys. How about y'all?
Talking some SEC basketball. Now, I just asked Franz this, so I'm going to tell you what he said. I said, is Chris Beard back next year as the basketball coach at Ole Miss? And he said, yes. $6 million. You can't get that anywhere else. What do you think happens there? They got to win against a team that was in the Final Four last year that might not make the tournament this year, Auburn.
Yeah, no, he came out last week and said that he was staying, just flat out said, I'm staying. If I got to take out a front page ad in the magazine and the newspaper, I'll do it, but I'm not going anywhere. I'll be here next year, and we're as motivated as we've ever been about what we did this year, and took accountability and said if he were a fan, he'd want to throw mud at the coach too. He said they did a horrific job this season, and took accountability of what happened this season, and said that they're going to be back better than ever next year. So, we saw Tuberville with the famous Pine Box comment back in 1998. Yeah, 8. But that's kind of stuck with him for many, many years. I would be highly surprised if Beard. Usually you play the game like Kiffin did and say you don't discuss that stuff and how happy you are and blah, blah, blah. So I doubt seriously he leaves.
I think the pavilion, Franz, you probably would agree. There probably is a terrible word. You will agree. It's one of the best places to watch a college basketball game. And years ago, I identified they have Raising Cane's chicken tenders in the snacks stuff up there. Those are really good tenders. Yeah. Or Guthrie's I love too. But Yancy, before we go back to Franz.
Well, you're talking about Raising Cane's. I think that lease is going to run out. That's
exactly.
That's LSU's NIL. So I think that place is out. Well, the pavilion.
But then again, every time we go to Buc-ee's, we're supporting Texas A&M. Are we? I mean, that guy's an Aggie. So, all right, I got to ask you this.
I mean, ironically, today Raising Cane's opens in Ocala first. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of an ironic twist there.
And they're
the guy the two guys that opened Raising Cane's, the main guy actually went to Georgia, but
Todd Graves?
the owner of Raising Cane's. There's
Todd
two
Graves.
of them.
Yeah, okay.
He went to Georgia, but he's from Louisiana. Went back to Louisiana, and he's a big LSU guy.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
Hey,
LSU
you
fan.
want something ironic, guys? And Brendan can appreciate this. Zaxby's, all the locations in Gainesville and Ocala are owned by Ray Goff and his brother.
Wow. Well,
Wow.
I tell you where it all started was Guthrie's Chicken Fingers in Haleyville, Alabama, about 60 years ago. That sauce. And there's an old urban myth that people that worked there went and started raising canes and started Zaxby's up in Athens. But Guthrie's is the original chicken finger. I might add that. All right. And in the war of chicken fingers, Yancy, again,
Yeah.
tell me about this. Todd Golden's got to get a new defensive coordinator. Is it a terrible thing if he has to run the defense? I don't think so. But you know far better than me.
Yeah, but, I mean, Coach Brian Brown, he's always kind of Pete's right hand man in that system. So I don't think anything's going to change with that. I think that's just how highly he thought of the former, I guess, what was he, the defense coordinator for a few weeks.
Yes.
So I don't think they're gonna quote unquote hire a coordinator because B Brown he's gonna be the guy that really as he has been the last couple years. He's gonna be the guy that Pete leans on, that runs their practice and meetings and things like that. Of course, on game day, Pete's always gonna call the defense. But B Brown, he played at Ole Miss. He was the defense coordinator at a lot of schools, including Louisville, that he came from to Ole Miss. He's highly thought of by Pete and the players, and so I don't think they're going to hire again a coordinator. They'll just kind of give that title to B Brown, I would imagine, and kind of roll with it. But they will hire another coach, so to speak. You also remember that they brought in Kentucky's head coach's brother to kind of roll with the linebackers and be an analyst, quote unquote, but he'll be on the field as well. So Coach Stoops has got a lot of experience as well. And so, yeah, but to answer your question, I'm not sure you'll see another person hired as a coordinator.
Yeah, smart. I think that's smart. Friends?
Well, we're starting spring practice today at Florida, and there's so many question marks. But here's the thing about it is I know more about John Sumrall, having had a 5-minute conversation with him at a halftime of a basketball game. I know more about John Sumrall in 5 minutes, and Buddy Martin and I tomorrow will have an interview with him.
Yeah.
Which we never got with Billy the Nape. And I know more about John in 5 minutes than I knew in 4 years about Billy Napier. And here's the thing, another thing. If you watch Florida, there's the Florida bench. And courtside, who's courtside? Right there, like reach out in touch distance from Todd Golden. John Sumrall's there with his kids every single ball game.
Yeah.
That's a coach who I think, has immersed himself into the Florida culture. And I don't think Billy Napier ever did that. And I think that was his downfall. Yeah. I think Pete Golding can succeed at Ole Miss. Everybody's saying, well, they lost Lane. I think Pete Golding can succeed at Ole Miss because he is immersed into Ole Miss culture. And Yancy, you could, maybe you'll say something different, but to me, looking on the outside and not being in Oxford, that's what it seems to me.
Yeah, Yance.
Yeah, I mean, look. Florida's new head coach over there, Coach Summerall was at Ole Miss. I got to know him while he was here as a linebacker coach a few years back. He's gonna soak in the community, the culture, as you say. He's gonna be very involved with the media, the fans, the everyday people, the janitors, the people that cut the grass at the IPF. That's just who he is. And so, it was interesting when Florida was clamoring for Lane Kiffin so bad, and all the media and fans were saying, we need someone to be, involved in the community and go to these alumni meetings and be at the restaurant talking to people. And I was like, if that's what you want, you don't want Lane Kiffin, right? Because
No.
he's gonna
Yeah.
live. He's gonna live in his house and at the IPF, and he'll fake it, like he went to the Mardi Gras party and got on the deck and waved to the fans and stuff. As you can see, he was cringing the whole time. But
Yeah.
you won't see him outside of that. I mean, he's gone.
Yeah.
But John Summerall, yes, he's gonna be very involved in that community. And Pete is nobody's like Summerall. He's old school, right?
Yeah.
Pete's old school, but he's not gonna be a rah-rah in the community quite like Summerall.
Yeah, I've been talking to John Hartwell, who's known him since high school, a lot about him for years. And I told the Florida fans when they hired him, I said, this is the home run hire. He loves it. And ain't Pete Golding. If you saw Pete Golding off the football field just walking around, you think he was an SA at Ole
Everyday
Miss.
guy.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
Joe Sixpack, because he's a cool guy from Hammond, Louisiana. Both of y'all know this too. We're going to have the great chicken wars in the South. It started with Guthrie's, then Zaxby's, and now Raising Cane's. So tell us which one you favor in the comment section today and in future shows. I'm just curious. Maybe we'll get one of them as a sponsor. The one
Look,
that's most popular.
Abner's was the chicken place in Oxford.
I loved
Abner played
Abner's.
football at Ole Miss, and now Abner's is closed.
Yeah.
In Oxford, it's a weird deal. I'm not sure what happened, but that was my favorite chicken strips and sauce. Their sauce was the best anywhere around, but I don't know what's really happened with that place.
Well, I know Abner.
I think
because,
they need to go down to Hattiesburg and get Leatha out of retirement and bring her barbecue up there, because boy, I mean, you want to talk about barbecue that'll knock your socks off.
Well, hey,
I had it many times. I grew up in Hattiesburg.
Wow, Leatha. I love that. Well, look, Matt White was my little brother in the fraternity, played football at Jeff Davis High School in Montgomery. His younger brother was Abner White. So Abner had come over to the Newhouse. He wanted Coach Dye wanted him to walk on. Billy Brewer, I gave him a full scholarship. So he went up there and turned it into a hell of a chicken empire. Now there's one in Memphis at Poplar and White Station, Yance. It says Abner's. I don't know what it is, but the original Abner's got its inspiration from, guess where? Had to be chicken on a stick at the Chevron there on University Boulevard in Oxford. Chicken on a stick. How many of those have I eaten at 3 a.m. when I'm pretty beard up? I've lost count. Long time ago. All right, for both of y'all, rapid fire. Start with Yance real quick. SEC right now, biggest, most important story or stories that you see that you can tell us about. And then I'm going to do the same thing with Franz.
I mean, it's got to be what's the Alabama football head coach going to do, the best going to do next season. That's got to be it.
Franz Beard.
I think it's Florida basketball, because the Gators can win the SEC. Everybody's talking about the Big 12. Everybody's talking about Duke. Everybody's talking about Michigan in the Big 10. I think the SEC needs Florida to win, having had 3 seasons now in a row without a national championship in football. I think the SEC needs Florida to win the basketball. I really believe that the league as a whole needs that to happen.
Yeah. All right. Yancy, Ole Miss baseball right now, and then talk to Franz. SEC baseball, the best in the country. We've won the national championship, looking for 6 in a row.
Yep.
Rebel baseball, state of the program. Year 25, Mike Bianco.
Well, they didn't have a good weekend this past weekend. They blew a 5-3 lead in the 8th inning in the first game against Baylor, and then ended up going into extras and lost it 7-6. And then just played miserable against College of Charleston Sunday, the latter half of the game, and so they gotta recover. But that starting rotation Friday through Sunday is so good. And they got 5 arms out of the bullpen as good as anybody in the country. So, as they always, pitching can carry you a long ways. They don't have the defense to go with the pitching because of the shortstop. Is kind of a hole on that team. But the pitching's so good and the power hitting's so good, I still think they're in really good shape to be a national seed at the end of the season.
Yeah. Franz,
But
quickly.
State and Southern Mississippi are fantastic, if not even better than Ole Miss. So this is the strongest year out of the state of Mississippi in college baseball that I can remember.
Well, 21 and 22, you got national championships. That's a hell of a statement for the man from Pine Country in Hattiesburg. That's a hell of a statement. Folks, do yourself a favor. Go to an SEC baseball game. You'll fall in love with the sport again. Quickly, Franz, I got about out of time. Gator baseball, what's going on down there with that?
Florida's got Kyle Jones back. He missed last year because he was injured. He's leading off, hits the ball well, but more importantly, he's worth 2 runs a game in center field. He's the best center fielder Florida's had since Matthew Dendecker, who, if people ever saw him, people were saying the best center fielder as far as going after the ball that has ever been in the SEC. Of course, we also had a Gold Glover named Jacob Young, who's a Gold Glover in the NCAA. This guy's a difference maker. Florida is back.
Yeah. Well, SEC baseball, no doubt, is the best in the country. And Yancy, you got a great, not only do you do Rebel Yell Hotline Monday nights at 6 o'clock on Sports 56 WHBQ and Super Talk Mississippi, Oxford Magazine, you got a lot of great stuff in there. That's a hot place to live. Yancy, can you name me an SEC college town that people aren't crawling to go move to?
It's a great lifestyle. That's why people like to live in SEC college towns. There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine you wake up every morning. It's like being in Mayberry. All right, look, we've run out of time today. Franz Beard, Yancy Porter, great stuff. Yancy, y'all both solved the question. Franz was right. You're right. Chris Beard will be back at Ole Miss basketball. I've never seen him have a season like this that I've been aware of. He's going to double dog, triple down. Ole Miss basketball, I bet we'll be back strong next year. All right, we'll see y'all next week. Thank you. Before we go, let me say something about sponsors we have. Love them. Landers, Ford, Memphis.com, Poplar, and Houston Levy. Go out there, ask for Brad Bellamy, the general manager. He'll get you in the right vehicle at the right payment plan that you can stomach, okay? You're not going to be hemorrhaging, paying, ridiculous car notes. Also, Poplar, 240 in Mount Moriah. That's the new location of LandersFordMemphis.com. Open every day of the week except Sunday. And right down the street from our good friends at Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee. Love these people. They're open every day, 10 in the morning until 6 at night, except Sundays. They've got over 7,000 pairs of men's and women's boots. Great-looking boots. My wife, her boot collection is like I've never seen anything like it.
I need new boots.
I know.
I've worn the other boots out. I swear to you, I've worn.
I'm rough on
worn them out. I just need them updated, like the leather and stuff.
What are you, a 19 and a half?
Yeah. No, but the last ones I got were amazing. I literally wear them every single day.
Oh, I know.
They're God. I'm not. I mean, we're sponsored, but like I wear them religiously.
They are so comfortable. Those are Farrell Sal, and they've got Barber and Filson, and they got cowboy hats. They've got belts. They got the Amish leather belts out there, right there on the historic square, Collierville, Tennessee. Order from anywhere. HewlettandDunn.com. Hey, don't wait till your roof caves in. But also before that, if you got aches and pains and you have trouble sleeping, order those lights out gummies, hempforpros.com. Quick story, 10 years almost together now. Dave Bartu's been with the NFL Players Association. Aches and pains, they go away. You'll sleep better than ever. Hempforpros.com. Hey, and My Town Roofing, get out there, get your roof checked before it caves in. MyTownRoofing.com. Hey, most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. For executive producer Brendan Martin, tonight. He is the greatest sponsor on the planet. And then tonight at 9 Eastern, the Lowdown with Lauren Meadows. It's going to be a great show, broadcasting live from somewhere. See you then. Thank you.
All right, guys. Good night, John Boy.
Everyone, Sideline Sports, y'all come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune.